his address, talked about this idea of contact tracing and a new app that he's hoping Canadians will make use of because it's going to help all of us fight COVID-19. Here's part of what he said.
Apple and Google put out major upgrades to their operating systems that allow this application to work in the background. So you don't have to do anything around this application other than download it. If you test positive, they will plug in a code that alerts any phone that has been close to yours that you have now tested positive. And if you have a phone that alerts you that you may have been in proximity with someone who subsequently tested positive, you can just call public health and they'll work through the next steps that you have to do. It's something you can just download and forget about.
That's it. Download and forget about, unless you're concerned about privacy, although the Prime Minister went on to say there's no reason to be concerned here, but I know there are a lot of doubters out there. Faye Arjomandi is CEO and founder of Mimik Technology in Vancouver, an expert in data security and privacy. You heard what the Prime Minister said. Any issue here with privacy, anything you're concerned with, and what your reaction to that was?
Yes. So the reaction is basically, I'm hoping that the data privacy will be put as a priority because we believe that the data belong to the users and users need to have full control of their data. And storing and saving data in cloud where the private health information of a person is not such a right choice. And it's not about anonymization of data, or it's not about anonymization of user or consent of the user. But generally speaking, the best approach is to utilize edge technology and enable peer-to-peer application communication with data remaining on user devices.
So when the Prime Minister says it's not a concern at all, that sounds kind of almost in a sense dismissive because, as you're saying, Canadians worry about that privacy. Is there a system, the way you've heard it now being described, that would give you sort of reason to believe it's not going to be a concern, that it will be handled so we don't have to worry about giving up our privacy?
I can't comment on that because I don't know exactly what technology will be used to basically enable or prevent a data breach, right? I know that they'll be using Shopify and BlackBerry. Shopify is a cloud-based e-commerce company. I know BlackBerry have some security software as a services, but I don't have enough information that I can comment on that. I believe it's extremely important that the government disclose what technology they will be using and how they will be preventing data breach and how they will not, how is it that the data will not be breached to cloud and the user information is not going to be disclosed.
Yeah, so it'd be fair to say...
And also...
it'd be fair to say you're not convinced.
I have to say that there is a need for more information, which I believe Canadian governments are always transparent with the type of technology that they're using. So I'm sure there will be additional announcement of how the technology is being used that basically give us peace of mind. Because according to a research that was done by Inside West just a few days ago, 48% of BC residents are concerned with their data privacy. And if you look at all the countries that launched a form of contact tracing application, none of them have been successful with adoption because people don't want to download an application that its only prime purpose is to trace you, right? And that's the key thing, that if you don't provide that peace of mind, if you don't use the technology that is actually about preventing data to leave your phone, and all the communication between other devices initiates from your phone. And when I'm receiving an alert, it doesn't say who the alert is coming from, and the sender doesn't know who the alert is sending to. right? And that's a part that we made it very clear that it's very important. We were invited to present in front of the Canadian House of Commons on May 21st with IBM and Google, and we made this very clear to the government that unless they don't look into people's eyes and give them that comfort and peace of mind that this is the technology they're using, people are not going to download it,
Wow.
right? And that will prevent the adoption. So we believe that in order for us to utilize this solution as a user, as a technologist, as a citizen, is that there are three things that need to be taken care of. One is adoption, two is anonymity, and the third one is adaptability. So adoption means that I know that my data remains on my device. I know that nobody has access to my data. I know that if I want to share my data, I control it. I decide who to see it, how long to see it for, whether they can copy it or not copy it, and I can revoke that permission at any time. That will be the adoption part. Anonymity is that when I can receive broadcast message or receive or send broadcast message without disclosing the receiver or without disclosing the sender information, but yet be able to achieve that kind of a communication between all devices. And adaptability, the fact that an application, I mean, we all use technology and application. An application must have a purpose, right? So I'm launching the app to be traced, but then beyond it, there's a need for this application to also be able to integrate with my health care provider of choice, integrate with my remote patient monitoring company of choice, because, for instance, I'm single. I need someone to monitor me during the time that I go through the recovery of the process, because majority of the time patients are sent home, but they need help with that. And then I'll be able to revoke that at any time. The example that we usually give to people is that imagine you had a break into your home. If you had a break into your home, you call law enforcement, they come to your place, but then that doesn't mean that you give them the key and you say from now on you can come in anytime that you want, right? So you need to be able to have access to services, but without giving the key of the castle to them.
That's
right?
fabulous. Thank you so much for breaking that down. That's really, really handy. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, that's Faye Arjamandi from Mimik Technology, laying it out, I think, pretty clearly. Let's take our breaks.